Now, I did this to try to summarize what I endeavor to show. May God help me in these slides. This is like my conclusion, what I saw, right? As I read more of the document. This is what I saw. And my major objective is to demonstrate that the Heritage Foundation's Save the Family report constitutes the first official agitation in America for the Sunday law prophesied of in Revelation 13, 11 to 18. This is my major objective. I hope to do so by showing, one, that Heritage Foundation's proposals are addressed to Congress for federal legislative actions. They're even also addressed to the executive for policy action, and I will show you where it shows that in the document. But especially emphasize is the fact that the proposals are not just any proposals. They're actually addressed to Congress for federal legislative action. So we're talking about legislation, not on a state level, but on a federal level that will cover all the states in America and addressed to Congress, which is the federal Congress, the legislature of the whole American people. Oh, this is significant already. Point number 2, its proposals as Heritage are a veritable pushback. This comes to what Sister Lana was saying. A veritable pushback against the left's communist immoral policies and culture with the intent to, and I quote, slay the anti-family beast, end quote. Brethren, I kid you not, that phrase is in the document. The Heritage Foundation identifies the left as a beast and speak of needing to slay the anti-family beast. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? Is this not what our Bible tells us? Is the issue of Daniel 11 and verse 40 the pushback of the king of the north against the king of the south? The pushback of the king of the north against the king of the south, who have all the names of blasphemy, which include being what we would call anti-family? Yes. Look at this. Next slide. I put a heading here. Heritage Foundation proposals to slay the anti-family beast. Because this is a push against the king of the south, whom they call the anti-family beast. I decided I must not leave this out, just to show you more and more. So already we have really already accomplished showing that it is really all about proposals being made to the Congress of America, not a state Congress, but the federal legislature. Okay? This is the nature of the proposals, unified position on the proposals of the Heritage Foundation Save the Family report. We are not, we don't question that. We're not uncertain about it. We know for sure they're trying to get congressional action. They're trying to get federal legislative mechanisms in place. And all the proposals in the document, they say, are of that nature. So that takes in when you get to the proposal for a Sunday law. We also have established to a certain extent, and we are seeing it more here, that their push and the reasons for their push, who they are blaming is whom we know as the king of the south or the scarlet colored beast, or communism, socialism, cultural Marxism. They are blaming the left. They are blaming wokeism for all their problems, for this deterioration of the family. They're calling them the anti-family beast, and they're saying they have to slay it. Observe, quoting from the top here, a large share of the blame for the present malady lies in moral and cultural trends that have both fed and been fed by government policy. Chief among these is surely the sexual revolution, which separated the sex act from marriage and childbearing. It is not just that sexual mores were revolutionized. Technology and policy also played key supporting roles. Starting in the 1960s, The pill and other contraceptives swept the country, which promised to reduce the unwanted consequences of casual sex with multiple partners across a lifetime. So note what they point out, the sexual revolution. They blame it in a large part for the destruction of the family and childbearing. Look at this next portion below it, where they mention Roe v. Wade. Like two gravitational objects interacting, the law soon influenced and was influenced by culture on this score. So they say not only was it became policy and cultural behavior, but it was taken into law. So now to correct it, we have to go to law. You must remember under Obama, they had sodomite marriage for the first time. You remember when they had him calling the sodomite couple and congratulating them and all sorts of things? Like two gravitational objects interacting, the law soon influenced and was influenced by culture on this score. No-fault divorce laws became nearly universal and divorce rates skyrocketed. Even when the divorce rate leveled off from its peak, it was largely explained by the fact that fewer people bothered to get married. Meanwhile, despite wide access to contraception, non-marital birth and abortion became ever more jointly common, especially following Roe v. Wade in 1973. And then they say, even some noted academics on the left have acknowledged that the shock of abortion, I'm trying to read this thing here because of the way it's set up on my page. Let me get it for you, right? 1 second. Right. It says, even some noted academics on the left have acknowledged that, quote, the shock of abortion and female contraception may have played a major role in the rise of out-of-wedlock childbearing. So they're blaming the left openly. If we go to the next side of the page of this slide, at the top, they continue by saying things like these. On top of these tectonic cultural forces undermining family came the LGBTQ agenda. See who else they're blaming? Which, through the Supreme Court of the United States, redefined marriage and severed it in law from its natural biological function and purpose of reproduction. This blow to marriage was followed shortly thereafter by gender ideology, such that by 2018, CNN's feature story on Father's Day weekend was titled, quote, he gave birth, he breastfed, now he wants his son to see him as a man, end quote. The story pushed the idea that men can get pregnant on a holiday that honors fathers. But the rabbit hole goes further. One 2023 GQ story titled, quote, the deeply human love stories of people and their sex dolls, end quote, is as dystopian as its headline suggests. It posits that future generations may have to ask whether both participants in a quote-unquote marriage are even human. New York Magazine published a, quote, practical guide to polyamory in January 2024 that seemed to signal its resolution to make quote-unquote marriages involving 3 or more people the left's next civil rights cause. And that's what polyamory is. The idea of having multiple relationships with different people, multiple sexual relationships, and everybody agrees to it and it's fine and everybody's doing it. So you see, they're pointing out things that they're hating, that they're pushing back at. Okay, the sexual revolution, the LGBTQ agenda, the gender ideology, the destruction of the definition of marriage. And then they say, in the face of seemingly overwhelming anti-family forces around the world, Dozens of countries have implemented policies designed to support natural marriage and family. And then I jump to this last slide. Look at the language they use. Now, like I said, I'm not quoting every last thing, but look at this first sentence. Again, let me just bring it up bigger so you can, well, probably see it a little bit better. Again, one should not expect to find a single silver bullet policy to slay the anti-family beast. Did you hear what they call it? Did you hear what they call the garbage? A beast. The anti-family beast. That is a direct reference to the king of the south, scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy. Haven't we shown you? The names of blasphemy include all this LGBTQ, include all the anti-social Christy things, the attack on marriage, family, gender, sex. We've shown you that. The cultural Markism. And the Heritage Foundation is proposing these things to the federal legislature, to Congress, including the proposal of a Sunday law to go back to church as effort to deal with, to slay the anti-family beast. This is the king of the north pushing against the king of the south. The beginning of the agitations thereof. Of that great pushback that Daniel chapter 11 and verse 40 told us about. Oh my. Isn't there something else? They are warring against the immoralities of the king of the south, Sister Amy says. Amen. And we will see that quotation from Sister White, where indeed the Sunday law must come to deal with immorality, as Sister Carissa is saying. And this is why I'm telling you, we were so right. These things are so plain. Many people are going to fall for this insinuation, you know. Many people. Because they're going to see it as something good and they're going to want to ask, what's wrong with you? Why are you fighting against this? It's something good. But alas, it is framed as something good. And indeed, some of the things are good. You should want to push back against this gender theory that destroys children's lives, that telling them they could change their gender and so on. You should want to push back against those things. But you cannot do it by enforcing religion by law against liberty of conscience. Last paragraph here. I read again. One should not expect to find a single silver bullet policy to slay the anti-family beast. To that end, what follows is a summary of this special report's proposed policies to help to reverse the trend of the declining formation of families. First, a clarification of what makes a policy pro-family. Pro-marriage plus pro-child equals pro-family. To be pro-family, a policy must do more than merely lead or be designed to lead to more babies. Pronatalism is one manifestation of an it's all about the baby's mentality that happily detaches childbirth from its natural context in the family. So they're not just saying pro-child by itself. They're saying pro-marriage, pro-child, pro-family. And the issue is slaying the anti-family beast. So it has been clearly established that they clearly want to deal with the immoralities of the left, the king of the south, the scarlet-colored beast. They want to put a stop to it. They're coming hard and they're saying, we don't just want to talk about it. We don't just want to talk in the media and so on to influence culture. We want to go to the law. We want to go to policy in law. And not just the state law here and the state law there. We're going to the federal law. We're going to the Congress.